Oh my, I never thought that this day would come, quite honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, this channel has recently reached 10,000 subscribers, and we're at 11,000 by the time I get this video done because I take forever, but we've done it. My goal, for 2019 was to get 20,000 or to 10,000 subscribers by 2020, and we've done it, lads. We've done it. I've been making videos for 8 years and probably a little bit longer than that from before I started YouTube, and it's only been like 2 or 3 years since those videos were even watchable. But I honestly never thought I'd get this far, if I'm being quite honest. I know every YouTuber says that. They're like, oh, I never thought I would get this many subscribers. Thank you so much. They're all hamming it up for the camera. They don't actually mean what they say. But now that I've actually attained a milestone like that, I get it. Like, if you really think about it, 10,000 people is a lot of people. Like, that's enough for a small to large army. Like, we could invade a small country if we all worked together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. But before we get into this video, I'd like to thank each and every one of you, for doing anything on my videos, for watching my videos, commenting on them, liking them, even considering hitting the subscribe button. Because apparently you might like my videos that much. I don't know why. I know it sounds cliche and all that, but, it genuinely means a lot, and I never would have gotten this far if it weren't for any of you, so thank you. So, with all that sappy bullshit out of the way, let's get into the topic of today's video. Today, I'm going back to my roots. I started YouTube doing, gaming videos, kind of. That's kind of what I started focusing on when I started taking it seriously, and video games, that they've always just kind of been ingrained with YouTube for me. They've always been two things that are just intertwined like that. So I couldn't think of a better way than to show my appreciation of video games and how they got me to where I am right now. And so today, here's my top 10 favorite video games of all time. The only rule is that I'm only allowed one game per franchise. So with that all said, I'm your host, MattCMG. Let's get weird, let's get wild, and let's get right into this. This first pick may come as a surprise to many of you. After all, I was always more Nintendo focused when I did gaming videos, and as unpopular as they are in the Nintendo sphere, I think first-person shooters are pretty fun. And sure, there's games like Halo, a series I wish I got into when it was popular, and Battlefield that change up the formula, but sometimes you just gotta go back to the basics, which is why I love Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I used to be a pretty casual Call of Duty fan. I had Black Ops 1 on the Wii and later Modern Warfare 3 on the 360, and I think I ended up getting every game yearly until Advanced Warfare, which was when my friends stopped playing it. I was also starting to buy into the whole it's the same game every year ideology that a lot of people had at the time, so I kind of fell off the series. I don't think that I'm alone when I say that Black Ops 2 was probably the last time Call of Duty was at its purest. There weren't any crazy gimmicks like wall running, there weren't any robot uprisings, no broken kill streaks. It was a grounded game about war in the not-so-distant future. This game started the trend of adding futuristic technology into the Call of Duty games, and the stuff in that game felt very realistic and attainable, unlike in future installments, and I can definitely appreciate that. 2025 isn't that far away, and we already have some of the stuff that was in this game. But back to the game itself, like I said, this is Call of Duty in its purest form. You can just run around and shoot people. The maps, I think, are the most memorable part for me. Off the top of my head, I can remember maps like Slums, Yemen, the ever so popular Nuketown 2025, and everyone's go-to 1v1 map, Hijacked. The gunplay was perfect. The maps were interesting and unique, the campaign was great for a Call of Duty game, zombies is always fun, and this is a blast to play with friends. Back in middle school, this was me and my friends' go-to game to casually play while we talked about whatever trivial bullshit was going on that day. Heck, it's actually surprising how I have social anxiety now, when back in the day, even talking to randoms in this game was fun, and that's something you'll never catch me doing in any game today. When I was just playing by myself, my favorite thing to do was to go into lobbies for the gun game mode and just run around knifing people. I was a master troll back in the day, if I do say so myself. Every year there's a new Call of Duty game, but very few of the new ones can truly stack up to the near perfection of the genre that was Black Ops 2. And I'm not just saying that because I grew up with it. I think you'll find that most people also believe this to be the definitive Call of Duty game, and I couldn't agree more. Hopefully the new Modern Warfare remaster can also live up to the hype. Back when I played games on a netbook, there weren't many games that I could actually run, so for a while I resorted to console, the Xbox 360 specifically. I really wanted to play games that I'd seen videos of, like Left 4 Dead and Team Fortress 2, so on my next trip to GameStop, I picked up the Orange Box, a collection of all of Valve's greatest hits, but for console. I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, however, so Left 4 Dead and TF2 were out and I couldn't play them at all, and I had no real interest in Half-Life at the time, so I tried out the only other game, Portal. I beat the game in about a day and was pretty satisfied, so much so that I picked up Portal 2 not long after. I was never very good at shooters, but puzzles? Sign me up, baby. I played through Portal 2 and I liked it just fine, but it wasn't until I converted to the PC Master Race that I bought the game again on a Steam sale and played through it a second time, and oh boy, the second time was the charm indeed. It was then that I truly appreciated this game. It's got fast-paced action sequences, quieter exploration sections, and so many well-designed puzzles that force you to be creative and to think with portals. This was a concept that was built in Portal 1, but wasn't perfected until Portal 2. The puzzles are so meticulously made that if you're not thinking with portals, then you're never gonna figure them out. A lot of games these days present the player with challenges that can be tackled in a number of ways, and that's fine and all depending on the game, but sometimes you learn a tactic that proves too useful in every scenario to where that's all you rely on. There's no other way to solve the problems in Portal. It's either you learn what the game teaches you or you won't progress. In Portal 2 especially, you need to rely on your own wit to get by, which is part of why I find GLaDOS and Wheatley so funny, because they're just constantly berating you, calling you stupid, to make you think with a different mind. Portal 2 also introduces lore into the series, which is something that I'd love to see tackled in a future installment, but I doubt that'll happen. We learn about old Aperture, GLaDOS' origin, what happened to the Aperture facility, and it's even revealed that Portal takes place in the same universe as Half-Life, which is crazy to me because I love that kind of stuff. I really, and I mean really, want a Portal 3 because there's just so much that they can expand on both in the story and in the gameplay. Too bad Valve is making too much money from Steam because they will literally never have to make a game again, and that means Portal 3 will probably never happen. As a kid, I grew up with a PS2 as my main console for probably the longest time, and one game that I would constantly play but was never really sure how I got was Tak 2: The Staff of Dreams. Apparently there was a Tak 1, but who cares, I went into this one blind. Tak 2 is a 3D platformer with some semblance of melee combat that was definitely par for the course in its day. The story is your classic find the MacGuffin and save the princess type story, but there's a twist in that you spend half the game asleep in the dream world where everything is like 10 times more dangerous. It lent itself to some interesting gameplay mechanics, but again, it was pretty much par for the course in its day. The thing that made it stick out from other PS2 era 3D platformers, at least in my eyes, was that this game was hilarious. Tak is voiced by Jason Marsden, who you may remember from and his voice really works for Tak. He always finds himself in uncomfortable situations with the Jujus, basically the gods or spirits of this universe, and it makes for some great comedy.
Excuse me. Hello, I summoned you. You have to help me. Hey, don't get upset about it.
But pretty much every character in this game is funny. Jabolba is your generic guide character trope, which makes for a good joke here and there. Locke, voiced by Patrick Warburton, is the comedic relief in an already funny game, so that should tell you all you really need to know. Many of the Jujus embody a particular trait or trope, but my favorite character in the whole game has to be Jabolba's brother. That's his name. Like, his parents were too lazy to name him, so they just called him JB for Jabolba's brother. That's what I call a bra moment right there. I can't say that I've ever beaten this game because I never really beat my games as a kid, but after recording footage for this video, I think I might actually finish this on my own time because I was really enjoying myself. When it came to choosing a Mario game for this list, I immediately thought of Super Mario Galaxy. Sure, Odyssey was fun and 64 was revolutionary for its time, but I feel as though Galaxy is the one that's held up the best. That's not to say that the others don't hold up, they certainly do, but Galaxy just does it the best in my opinion. And who am I kidding? It's because I was a wee baby and this was the Mario game I grew up with. I don't feel the need to even explain this one because honestly, if you've played Mario Galaxy, then you know why it's that good. Everything in the game, from the music, Mario's moveset, the setting, the gameplay, just everything meshes together so well that it makes it just a magical experience all the way through. Shame my disc won't read though, because, you know, that's a bit of a bummer. Now, I'm not usually into sports games. Heck, I'm not even into sports at all, but extreme sports? Now that's rad as a concept. SSX Tricky was a snowboarding game for the PS2, and unlike other sports games, this one was wacky, and I love it for that. I mean, it's also because it was one of the only games I had growing up, but you get the idea. You got this zany cast of characters with different personalities, and they play off of each other really well in the post-race cutscenes, and even during the races where they talk each other. The racing itself controls great. It feels fast, yet still very maneuverable, and it doesn't feel unrealistic. The main shtick of the game is that you get these speed boosts for doing tricks, and once I figured that out as a kid, boy, was I unstoppable. When you fill your trick meter, you're rewarded with a remix of Tricky by Run DMC, so that's pretty rad. The whole soundtrack seems to be made up of hip-hop and a little bit of Eurobeat in there, and it's pretty much the epitome of the anti-establishment, too cool for school vibe this game gives off. It is an extreme sport, so what did you expect? If you like hip-hop, crazy stunts, weird characters, and funny banter, then SSX Tricky might be the game for you. When it came to choosing a Smash Bros. Game, I was honestly super torn between Brawl and Ultimate. I never grew up with Melee, and I'm not very competitive, so that one doesn't appeal to me at all. I only had the 3DS version of Smash 4, and you could probably guess why I didn't like that one, and nobody likes Smash 64. Like, it was the one that started it all, and I get it, but nobody's robbing stores for copies of that game. It came down to Brawl and Ultimate. Brawl was the one that I grew up playing, and yeah, it's super slow and it hasn't aged too well, but the single player was to die for in this game with Subspace Emissary. The cutscenes in that game were fantastic because we get to see all kinds of video game characters team up and interact with each other that you'd never think to pair up. Like Samus and Pikachu, never would have thought. Fox and Diddy Kong, wild. Mario, Kirby, Link, and Pit, the four main poster boys from the NES era, sign me the up. Smash Ultimate, on the other hand, was pretty lacking in story. Don't get it twisted, World of Light was fun and a creative way to incorporate all the characters that they wanted without actually coding them into the game via spirits, but in terms of the story, Like, there's a few cutscenes, but not nearly enough, and they don't even show the characters interacting. Like, Galeem and the Darkness could have been great villains, but they were just these big hulking forces with no actual personality. Like, when I see Taboo, I think, like, Dr. Manhattan, you know, like, he's clearly very powerful and intelligent because of his humanoid form, and he just looks godlike. Galeem and the Darkness are just clouds. That's not very interesting. However, Smash Ultimate is a much better game mechanically, and it has every single character in the Smash game ever, so that's also a plus. Overall, though, as someone who doesn't have many friends to play these kinds of games with, I have to give the spot on this list to Smash Bros. Brawl just for the single player content alone. And the nostalgia. Okay, you win. Back when I was first discovering the whole gaming side of YouTube, I would watch a lot of GTA Funny Moments videos, kind of think like Vanoss back in the day, and while today I really don't like those kinds of videos anymore, as a kid, they definitely made me want to play GTA. I first played GTA 4 episodes from Liberty City on the 360, and it was fun for what it was. I never played the storylines in that game. Me and my brother and our friends would kind of take turns messing around with cheat codes, but it certainly gave me a taste of what a GTA game would be like. I had Vice City for the longest time, but my dad wouldn't let me play it because I was too young. I remember distinctly, the day Pokemon X and Y came out, October 12, 2013, my mom took me and my brother to GameStop and I picked up Pokemon X in GTA 5 on the Xbox 360. I had a blast with this game. The story was so good I ended up playing it twice. GTA Online was what I always imagined GTA multiplayer would be. The world was wide and open to explore with secrets galore, and of course, it wouldn't be a GTA game without their trademark satirical humor. I would often just sit in the car in this game, not doing anything, just listening to the radio because the talk shows and commercials are hilarious. My friends and I put an ungodly amount of hours into GTA Online, and it became our go-to game in the post-Black Ops 2 era. There's a point when you're playing this game with friends where you finish whatever goal you originally had for the day and you don't know what to do, so everything just dissolves into madness. You all know the feeling. You get so bored for playing for so long that you just go on a killing spree or end up fighting your friends for a while, but it's just as fun as the game itself. Once I migrated my character over to PC, I pretty much continued this, but with a different group of friends. Here was where I beat the main story for a second time, and I even went the extra mile to 100% it, which is the only game I've ever done that in. I've kind of fallen off this game with all the crazy, overly complicated updates they've been doing, but it's always fun to revisit every once in a while because it's just that good. If If you've been on this channel for any period of time, then you know for a fact that a Pokemon game was definitely making my top 3. I've played pretty much every generation at least a little bit, and even the worst Pokemon games are still really fun. As you all know, Pokemon Pearl was my first Pokemon game. I later had Heart Gold, White and White 2, X, Omega Ruby, Sun, and those were just the ones that I own, as I've also emulated the Gen 1, 2, and 3 games. Even Let's Go was pretty fun. The thing about Pokemon games is that the newest one usually replaces the previous one as my favorite, because at their core, they're really all the same thing, and they tend to improve on what the previous one did. But if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably have to go with either the Gen 4 or Gen 5 games. Gen 4 is here mostly out of nostalgia, because I know Diamond and Pearl aren't the most optimized games, but they're still fun and there's still a lot to do. Platinum and Heart Gold, Soul Silver fixed these issues, and Black and White improved on the formula even more, but I think White 2 has to be my absolute favorite because there's just so much to do after you've beaten the fantastic main story. I think Black and White 2 are the last Pokemon games that felt truly complete. Everything since then was okay, but definitely lacking in the content department, because there's not much to do after you beat the games other than preparing for a competitive team. Black and White 2 had so many interesting things to do. Catching legendaries required actual skill, events were cool and had actual meaning, there's the Unova link that adds additional story, bridging the gap between the first Black and White games. The Pokemon Dream Radar was a cool way to get the legendary genies. The White Tree Hollow was a great post-game challenge with a cool reward at the end. There's just so much to do. Heck, I spent 2 weeks of my life doing the Yancey side quest in this game to get a Teddiursa because my brother's copy of Soul Silver went missing. This was the last time sprites were used in the Pokemon series, and they look so clean and expressive in this game compared to the previous games and the 3D models that we'd eventually get in the future. Pokemon, I'd say in my opinion, has never looked cleaner. All in all, White 2 is my favorite Pokemon game because of how much there is to do, and it's, in my opinion, the definitive Pokemon game. Anything else just doesn't stack up to it. When I think of games that I've played the most in my life, Minecraft is usually the first to come to mind. Back when my friend Brandon, who you might remember from my live streams, introduced me to the game around 2012, I instantly became a fan, and I've been playing the game consistently for almost 7 years. I sunk so much time into Minecraft in the early years. Like, if Minecraft could tell you how many hours you've played, I can almost guarantee you it'd be in the thousands for me. I've done just about all you can do in this game. I've started countless single player worlds, joined a ton of servers to play with my friends. I've used to frequent Hypixel and play Hunger Games and Skywars back in the day. I've even played it modded on PC, and I've played with multiple groups of friends across PC and 360. The point is, there's so much to do in this game that you'll never get bored of it. Like, if I could only have one game to play for the rest of my life, I'd pick Minecraft, because assuming I have internet access, once I get sick of the vanilla game, I can hop on a server like the aforementioned Hypixel, or I could mod the heck out of the game and get a solid extra 100 hours out of it in each instance. You can do pretty much anything with mods in this game. There's a mod for everything, and mod packs have always been a very popular thing, and those are totally fun. I've played a few with my friends before, but they add so much that's kind of overwhelming sometimes. I almost prefer vanilla Minecraft because there's a ton to do and there's a lot there, but it's still very manageable. Vanilla Minecraft is especially fun when you haven't played it in a while and they've done a few major updates, so you get to see all the new stuff for the first time. Like, when this game regained its popularity a few months back and I went to play it for the first time again for stream, I was amazed at how they've made oceans interesting and made trading with villagers something that actually matters. In all my years playing the game, the one thing I've never done is beat it. I've never legitimately killed the Ender Dragon, and that's my goal for my live stream series, Minecraft Monday. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes I'm playing with my friends. Either way, it's a fun time. Go follow my Twitch if you're interested. I've been toying with the idea of starting up a server for the CMG fans to play together, so if that's something you're interested in, then leave your thoughts and server host recommendations down below, because that sounds like fun. Anyways, Minecraft is a game that's timeless. Most games die out after a few years, but Minecraft has stayed culturally relevant for almost a decade, and that's quite a feat considering it was hated for a good portion of its life. Minecraft will always be one of my favorite games of all time because it's the one that I can always go back to and still be amazed and as confused as I was when I first played it. Before we get to number 1, let's go through some honorable mentions. These are games that I really enjoy, but I just haven't played them enough to truly appreciate them, so I wouldn't put them in my top 10, but they're still games that I really, really like. First of these honorable mentions is Kingdom Hearts 2. I never grew up playing the Kingdom Hearts series, but was always rather curious about it. As Kingdom Hearts 3 was nearing release at the time, I decided I'd buy the PS4 collections and play through them on stream. Kingdom Hearts 1 was fine, it was definitely a fun game. Chain of Memories I could have done without because I hate the card system, and the 358 over 2 days movie was kinda whack, but it all came together in Kingdom Hearts 2. The story is wacky as ever with the anime dudes and Disney characters galore. The gameplay improved so much on the first game and was much more fluid. There's a lot of things that the game doesn't tell you that you need to learn and master to get good at it. It's a great challenge even on normal mode. It's just a swell time. It's a little long and a little bit oddly paced. I still wake up in a cold sweat thinking about the Roxas boss fight, but overall, I had a good time. As I write this video, I'm only on my second playthrough of Birth by Sleep, and the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2 was so satisfying that I'm not sure how Kingdom Hearts 3 can top it, but I'm hopeful. If you want to see me play through these games blind, then definitely check out my Twitch channel, because I stream them pretty much every week. Next honorable mention is Dragon Ball FighterZ. I really fell in love with the Dragon Ball series over the past couple years, and FighterZ is probably the definitive Dragon Ball game in my opinion. Granted, this is the only one that I've played. I bought Budokai 3 a while ago because I heard that was good, but I haven't played it yet. Anyways, FighterZ makes you really feel like you're in the show, like you are Goku, and I know, ha ha ha, makes you feel like Batman meme, but it's true. When you're doing good in this game and pulling off decent combos, you really feel like a Saiyan. It's a really fun game, if you're winning, that is. The only thing that keeps this game an honorable mention is that I'm not very good at it, so I get very frustrated with it very easily. I get it, fighting games aren't easy and you have to learn them to get good at them, but I just don't have the temper or patience for it. Fighting games clearly aren't my forte, but they're fun to play casually against bots, and the Dragon Ball Coat of Paint makes it a lot more enjoyable. Let's see how many more honorable mentions there are. Oh, that's a lot. You know what? I talk too much. Let's do a quick speed round for the rest of these things. Batman Arkham City, Smite, Ori and the Blind Forest, SpongeBob the Movie the Game, Over the Hedge on PS2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old one not the new one, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, Left 4 Dead 2, Honey Pop but not for the hentai, Rocket League, Enter the Gungeon, and any version of Tetris. Ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated with the Legend of Zelda series. Even the worst Zelda games still have that Zelda charm to them, and the entire series is, for lack of a better term, magical. I've played pretty much every Zelda game there is, but none of them have surpassed Twilight Princess in my opinion. I know it's not the best Zelda game, it's pretty slow to get into, the motion control combat on the Wii version is a little annoying, and it's kinda bland compared to some other Zelda games, but it's the first Zelda game that really perfected the Zelda formula, if you ask me. Some say that it's Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker, but I disagree. Twilight Princess is the same exact concept as Ocarina of Time, but I think it does it better. The dungeon design was some of the best and most fun in my opinion. The story was dire and emotionally charged, even though I don't give a flying f*** about Colin. The combat was way more complex than Wind Waker's. There's just a ton that it improves. I don't care what anybody says. Majora's Mask. To me, Twilight Princess feels like the true sequel to Ocarina of Time. It hits many of the same story beats, so the games kind of rhyme, though that goes for most Zelda games anyways. We see how Hyrule has changed in the absence of the Hero of Time, and we even learn from him in the form of the Hero Shade. I personally don't think these games are that dark despite the popular opinion, but there are some moments that are a little jarring for a Zelda game. This game draws a lot of similarities and has some very subtle connections to Majora's Mask, and that was what really birthed my Zelda theory addiction. In fact, the first theory video I made on this channel way back in the day was a theory connecting the two games, and those were part of my channel for a good while. So cringe. Oh no. It's just a solid game overall, and I can't deny that nostalgia clearly plays a role in this because this was the first major Zelda game I ever played, but that spiraled into a lifelong love and appreciation for the series. The best thing about this game, you can play as a doggo. That's it, we can stop making video games now. We've peaked as a society. Well, those have been my top 10 favorite games of all time. And it was super fun to revisit and remember and reminisce about some of these games, because it's been a long time since I've played some of them, and definitely it's just been a fun experience all around. I've had this video planned for a very long time and was only going to make it when I hit 10,000 subscribers, so it feels great to finally get this video out, because I've been planning it for so long in my head for the past year. My goal for 2019 for this channel was to hit 10K by the end of the year, and we've done it 4 months ahead of schedule, and it feels great to that so many people actually like my videos and or my personality enough to actually subscribe and stick around. So again, thank you to everybody who stuck around for so long. It's genuinely fantastic. But just again, a big thank you to anybody who's left a comment, anybody who's smashed that like button, anyone who's active on the Discord, anybody who stops by the live streams every now and again, and again, all 10,000, 11,000 I guess plus of you, just thank you all. Welcome to the CMG Nation if you're new here, and I hope you stick around for whatever videos I decide to make next. That's all for this video. I've been MattCMG, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.